Welcome to the Pelican Brief with your host, David Tapman.
Welcome to the Pelican Brief. I am your host, David Tapman. Thank you so much for listening. So today we're going to talk about what happened during week 4 of the 2024 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature and what to expect in week 5. The legislative bodies are working very quickly during this session. House and Senate committees have been handling large agendas, and both bodies are clearing their debate calendars on their floor. Many bills have crossed over to the opposite body, and we expect Senate bills to be heard in House committee and House bills to be heard in Senate committee this week in week 5. The elephant in the room for everyone is the proposed constitutional convention that would be created by House Bill 800 by Representative Bo Boye from New Iberia. As that bill currently stands, the Constitutional Convention would begin at 5:30 on Monday, May 20th, 2024. There would be 171 delegates. It would require that there be a submission of a proposed constitutional amendment no later than July 15th of 2024, and that proposal would be included on the fall elections ballot for consideration by a vote of the public. If you have not yet listened to our special edition of the Pelican Brief with Joe Mapes, check it out. We provide a great deal of conversation about the current proposal and a little history about the last Constitution, which was held in 1973 and 74. So let's talk a little bit about what happened last week in the legislative session, and then we'll take a look ahead at what's going to happen next week. The major bills moving through the system relative to insurance and educational reform are moving through the process. Expect some of these bills to be the first to cross over to the non-originating body for consideration. In fact, we know that there are House bills that are ready to be heard in the Senate committee, but in the House Insurance Committee, there are going to be Senate bills heard this week that will be debated to try to improve our insurance markets in Louisiana. So a few bills worth noting. Last week was the final bill filing deadline for bills. So as you may recall, every legislator can pre-file an unlimited number of bills. But after that pre-filing deadline, each legislator is allowed to file up to 5 bills in the session up until about 3 weeks after the session starts. For us, that was an April 1st deadline. So we saw a lot of bills on April 2nd hit the system. One of those is Senate Bill 403 by Senator Fessy that would grant the Louisiana governor the power to appoint the chairs of Louisiana's 5 higher education boards. So remember, the governor already has appointments on all of those boards, but this would go a little further and allow him to appoint the chairs. Currently, those chairs are appointed by the sitting members of those higher education boards. There is some speculation that this bill is being spurred by a powerful supporter of Governor Landry. Senator Fessy stated that the bill was brought to him by an outside group, but did not name that group, so that would be all speculation, and we don't do as much of that here. So another bill of interest is Senate Bill 237 by Senator Thomas Presley out of Shreveport. It would eliminate consumable hemp in Louisiana. The legislation stems from concerns over those that believe that the hemp industry and the CBD industry has basically legalized THC, which, as we know, is the active ingredient in cannabis or marijuana in Louisiana. There are a number of hemp CBD products that have high concentrations of THC. Keep a close eye on this because the hemp industry has exploded across Louisiana. It is sold in most convenience stores and the number of hemp and CBD stores around the state. And there's been a lot of investment in hemp and CBD. This bill would effectively put those people out of business. So it's going to be an interesting conversation as we move forward. Wanted you to know there are several other bills that seek to dial back and limit hemp and CBD products in terms of the THC that is included. Remember, THC is the psychotropic compound that basically gets you high in those products, whether it be cannabis, CBD, hemp. They're all in the same family. So it's something to watch, and it'll be an interesting conversation. So here's one. Do you like protests? Do you love to go down, on a Saturday to your local protest and wave a sign, blow whistles, throw stuff on people? Do you like that? Well, then you need to keep an eye on House Bill 173 by Representative Brian Fontenot from Thibodaux. This bill would create the crime of approaching a police officer who is lawfully engaged in law enforcement activities. The bill would expand the penalties for individuals who block public streets during protests or come within 25 feet of a police officer in certain circumstances. It would also prohibit picketing at private residences. And so if you do that sort of stuff, you may not like this bill. A very similar bill passed the legislature last year. This one goes a little bit further, but was vetoed by Governor John Bell Edwards. There is a bill that was late filed bill by Senate Bill 482 by Senator Heather Cloud of Turkey Creek in central Louisiana. This provides for the access to public records relative to the governor's and the functions of his office. There are several bills on this subject matter, but this appears to be the bill. The press is having kittens over this. Y'all read the articles in the press because they're about to die. The world's going to end if this bill passes. If you read the articles or watch the news channels, they're so partisan on this issues. They don't report it. They take a position and promote that position. This is not journalism. This is the problem that I have with the press. Tell the story. You decide. So I'm not sure if I like the bill or not, but I can tell you it doesn't work me up. I had no kittens or litters of puppies or anything on this. I can tell you that public records requests are often used, to bring transparency to processes and, to make sure elected officials are not doing things that they're not supposed to do. But it's also a tool that has been weaponized and used to harass elected or appointed officials who won't do what you want them to do. And the cost to taxpayers in Louisiana, it's millions of dollars at the state and local levels. I'm all for public access to information, but the truth is, you can get most of that information online or just by talking to someone if you want it. It was used it was weaponized in my time on the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board. We had to hire a full-time employee to deal with the massive number of public requests that were coming from a very few individuals that never amounted to anything. It was meant to harass us. Nothing ever came of any of those public records requests, but we produced thousands and thousands of pages of documents and had to hire a full-time person to do it, in addition to others having attorneys to review it to make sure that it didn't violate the law relative to the release of anything we weren't supposed to release. So I believe there needs to be balance in that, and I hope that this bill will create some of that balance. So let's look ahead to what we expect in Week 5. We think major bills impacting insurance in Louisiana will move through the committees of the opposing chambers. Commissioner Temple's package designed to make Louisiana more in line with other states and less an outlier are moving through the process. This is one of those issues, again, I'm going to spank the press on this, that they're using leftist propaganda to make this about big bad insurance companies when in fact it simply amends Louisiana's laws to be more like other states. We are hearing stories that the press will never report about families that are losing their homes because they can't afford insurance. And why can't they afford insurance? Insurance premiums are too high. And why are they too high? Well, in addition to the fact that we have been hammered by hurricanes over the past few years, by tornadoes, by hailstorms, our laws are different than other states. We're an outlier. Nationwide insurance rights in every state in the nation except Louisiana, and their name is Nationwide. It's almost embarrassing. But others in our state are having to go without coverage or dramatically reduced coverage because they can't afford it. And some homeowners are turning in their keys to the banks, to the mortgage lenders. If you don't believe that, go down to Plaquemines Parish, go down to Lafourche and Lower Jefferson Parish, go down to Vermilion Parish, go down to, extreme southwest Louisiana, like Cameron Parish, and ask them what they're dealing with. Yeah, they're dealing with people who didn't treat them well in claims. There's no doubt about that. But now they can't keep their homes because they can't afford the cost of insurance. So Tim Temple's doing a fabulous job as insurance commissioner. I'm very proud of the work he's doing. I'm very proud of him allowing me and others to be at the table to talk about some of the issues that are happening. The press is just beating him like a dog. But Tim's standing strong. He knows what needs to be done. He's been in the industry for a long time. And look, he's staking his reputation on it. He's saying these are the things that we need to do to stabilize the market. We're going to do them. And he has not relented. And so he is a gutsy politician. And I feel really good about what he's doing and about the impact it's going to have on my insurance premiums, my family's insurance premiums, my business's insurance premiums. So I'm excited about that. And there are going to be Senate bills that are a part of his package that are going to be heard in House Insurance Committee this week. So keep an eye out for that. That bill is quickly moving through the process. A major bill in the House Commerce Committee that we wanted to talk about will be debated this week. House Bill 388 by Representative Big John Ilg, which provides for live event ticketing, would ensure that individuals who purchase tickets in Louisiana for live events would have control over their tickets. You say, well, we already do. No, you don't. You do not own that ticket. First, it's not a ticket. It's a licensing agreement. And they can control what you do with that ticket. So, for example, if they sell you that ticket on Ticketmaster, they can say that you can only resell the ticket on Ticketmaster. What if you want to give it away? What if you want to donate it to a church? What if you want to give it to your brother-in-law? What if you want to do something else? What if you want to go on Facebook Marketplace and sell it to help avoid all those fees and perhaps get a better price? In many circumstances, you can't do that. And most of that has to do with the Live Nation Ticketmaster merger that should have never happened. Congress is looking deeply into this. Because they are such an 800-pound gorilla that they have complete control over that ticket market, and now they have control over the artists. So this bill would simply say if you buy a ticket, you own it and control it. You can do what you want with it and give it away. You can donate it. You can do what you want to it with it. And that's a big deal. So expect a major effort to defeat this bill because there are people who stand to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. And we will likely do a special show on this legislation as it moves through the process. There is a great show on this on the John Oliver Show. It was done a couple of years ago, but it still holds true. I'm going to post it in the show notes, but if you go and Google John Oliver and Ticketmaster, you need to listen to it. It's about a 30-minute segment. Again, he gets off into some comedic things here, but you have to listen to it until the end. It tells some of the stories about concerts where when the tickets went on sale, less than 10% of them were actually offered for sale. Many were held back and sold later when the market dictated a higher price. And many were given to or sold to at a preferred price credit card companies or fan clubs. And I'm all for that because if I buy a credit card and I can get a special deal it's fine. And if I join a fan club, that's fine. But you can't always do that. And so this bill will give people more control over their tickets. I think when I buy a ticket, I own it. But because of this issue coming up for several years in a row now, I realize I don't. And that it's not a ticket, it's a licensing agreement. And so keep an eye out for it. I think this bill will go a long way toward helping Louisiana consumers. And frankly, Louisiana artists control their shows and help Louisiana ticket holders control their tickets. That's one thing I think everyone can agree on. So another major issue that you hear talked about is vaping, right? Vapor products. So many people smoked and they, wanted to quit smoking, so they started vaping, if you will. So vaping products have been a major issue in our state, and there was a bill that was passed last year and is now being litigated that would dramatically limit vapor products to those that are approved by the FDA or awaiting a final judgment by the FDA or involved in litigation with the FDA. House Bill 621 by Representative Joe Stagney of Kenner, Louisiana, would prevent the direct shipping of vapor products from foreign nations, from those individuals who are not regulated or approved. You have to keep in mind that right now in the market, when you go into a convenience store or a vape shop, you have no idea where those products came from. Many of those products are made in China. They might have fentanyl in them. They may have some sort of synthetic nicotine that is not approved in the United States. We don't know what's in them. We heard stories about people in vape shops mixing blueberry flavored vape material with all kinds of things. So you just don't know what's in the products. Most of the products that are approved or are in final approval with the FDA are what's called closed systems. So the closed system is that you know what's in it when you vape it. And so it's safer for people who vape, whether or not you feel like vaping is safe or whether you feel like cigarette smoking is safer or whatever you think. But this bill, House Bill 621, is an important bill. The bill passed last year. It was implemented. There was a lawsuit, and that lawsuit is in litigation right now. So what this bill would do is basically address those issues that it's in litigation for, reinstate the law. This law actually goes a little bit farther because it would make it so that you could not get mail order vape products. They would have to come through a process much like cigarettes do, cigars, or smokeless tobacco. So that's our show for now. We are really loving doing this show. We hope you will take a moment after listening to it or some other time to go on to the platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, rate us. I don't care if you rate us poorly, but just go in and rate us, say a few comments. It really helps with our distribution. We'd ask you to go on and if you haven't already subscribed, which if you're listening, you probably did, to like, share our podcast to other people, go on social media, like, share, comment. That makes a big difference if you comment on our social media platforms. Our handle on all of the social media platforms is at Pelican Brief 225. And you can watch us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on any of the social media platforms. If you are listening and would prefer to watch this, we are on YouTube. Our handle there is at the Pelican Brief 225. You can find everything about us on our website, pelicanbriefpodcast.com. You can listen to our episodes there if you like. Please take a moment to share it. We have a great listener audience. It grows every week. Thank you for the comments, the positive ones, the attacking ones. I'll take them all. We don't make money doing this. We put this show out there to communicate with our clients and our friends, and we feel like it's a good way to communicate with the broader public, and we just want to get that information out there. So thanks again for tuning in. We are going to continue to cover the Louisiana Legislature and all things Louisiana politics. And so until next time, we are the Pelican Brief.
The Pelican Brief is an off-script production.